Hello, everybody, and happy New Year's Eve, wherever you may be. My name's Larry. My call sign's Kilo 7, Hotel November. I'd like to welcome you back to my shack here in Northwest Oregon. This is Ham Radio Live, show number 110. I'd like to ask you to please hit the subscribe button. The subscribe button helps people find us here on YouTube. We don't put ads here. I will not place ads. So you're not going to have to worry about commercials blocking the stream and then banging on the skip ad button. I hate that. So I don't do it on this channel. This channel is to give back. And you coming here means a ton too. So thank you very much. Happy New Year's and even New Year's to you guys. New Year right now coming into Asia. So the folks in Japan, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Australia. Happy New Year to the Philippines. Yep. 2021 already. How about that? Welcome to the show. I'm going to talk about some stuff today that's going to help both generals hopefully license up to general, as well as kind of a nagging thing that people don't really think about too much, and that's separating antennas into your shack. Here's my windowsill. It doesn't look so sharp, does it? See all the dust and all the, all that stuff coming in from outdoors? Well, it's because I run multiple antennas. There's a product I'm going to show you that will simplify that brilliantly. And already a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Welcome to today's show. Going to work a little bit here on some general questions. We got, I know, at least two of our channel viewers who are trying to license up, one next week. So we're going to work on generals quickly. Barcelona. Johan, thank you. You know what we're going to do before we start that? Hang on. I thought of you after the show yesterday, and I want to open this box to show you what this looks like. This is a Sony ICF SW2010. They started making these about 1983, and they went to about 2003. This is the first box I opened, by the way, Christmas Day. Oh my gosh. I was so excited to get this thing. Johan, now you're into DXing for shortwave. For people that don't know, a really good portable receiver, this one is phenomenal. This is like one of the best of the best. This is a Sony ICF 2010. My wife bought this for me for Christmas. It's a fantastic receiver. It'll pick up airband and it'll do HF, it'll do shortwave, AM, FM, all of that. But what's brilliant about this radio is its sensitivity, its selectivity. It's actually made really as a ham radio receiver, believe it or not. So much of what this does is like a ham radio receiver. Really, it's that way. If I don't remember later, hey, Happy New Year to you too, my friend. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too in Spain. I made that. Yep. Yeah, the Sony ICF 2010. Outside the U.S., Sony marketed this as the 2000D. Okay, so it was the 2000D. Beautiful radio. It's built so much like a ham radio receiver in many ways. You turn it on, of course, it's got its AM, FM, but on the side of it, what's brilliant about this radio is it has both a coarse and a fine tune VFO. It's fantastic. You can set it for different modes, and it works very much like a ham radio receiver. One of the very best. Has an outside antenna input as well. Good connectivity, and it's portable. This is something you can take with you on the road. If you love to do DX, you love to listen to the ham bands, or you really enjoy, staying up with the ham bands without turning your phone on to listen to an SDR, like the old-fashioned way, radio. The 2010 is a great radio. It's also a very popular radio and very well proven to be a performer. One of the very best ever, truly is. All right, let's work on these general questions for our buddies who I know are studying up for the general. Let me take a look. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Nikolai. Look at this. From Romania. Nikolai. It's an honor to meet you. Thank you for being here. Wow. Romania, I am honored. Thank you very much for coming. I mean, this means the world to me. Yes, really bought it in Barcelona, the model 2001D. That's right. I said 2000. You're right. 2001D. That's the export model. It's a brilliant, brilliant radio. Good radio, but very, very expensive. Yes, it does cost a lot. It's an expensive radio. It was expensive new as well, but now that they don't make them any longer, they tend to be, collectible now, depending upon conditions. Bahrain is in the house. Hello, Tom. Happy New Year, buddy. Happy New Year. I know where you are. Looks like just about New Year's Eve, still barely, just barely, but it's on the way. 2021 is coming. It's going to be better. Going to be better, folks. Okay. Let's get these general questions quickly out of the way, and then we're going to talk about a great product that's going to help you in your ham shack to keep it clean and keep it warmer in the wintertime, too. All right, first question for the generals, and we've got, especially for our friend Greg over in Maine and David in Colorado, here are some questions that hopefully will help you to license up. When general class licensees are not permitted to use the entire voice portion of a particular band, which portion of the voice segment is generally available to them? It's always the upper end, never the lower end. Remember, we're talking phone here, and this is really important if you're talking 40 meters, 20 meters, okay? Even it occurs as well, believe it or not, on 15 in the US. So 20, 40, 15, generals have a smaller slice. So whenever that happens, it's always going to be on the upper frequency end, okay? So remember that, generals, if you're taking your test soon, the upper frequency end. I'll get to your comments here in just a moment. Oh my goodness, so these are great stuff. Let me get to your comments in a second. If a person has an expired FCC-issued amateur radio license of general class or higher, what is required before they can receive a new license? Now, this is very important. This is a differently worded question than one that's like it that is within the grace period. There is a grace period the FCC gives after your license expires that you can get your license reissued if you've shown that you had the license recently, but you just couldn't get it, extended. All right. If it's expired, the answer is given. A, they must have a letter from the FCC showing they once held an amateur or commercial license. B, there are no requirements other than being able to show a copy of the expired license. C, the applicant must be able to produce a copy of a page from a call book published in the USA showing his or her name and address. Or D, the applicant must pass the current Element 2 exam. The answer is B. If you've got an expired amateur radio license beyond the grace period, you've got to retake your test. That's it. Period. The end. The FCC wants to make sure that you can still remember the stuff necessary to be the engineer and the DJ of your radio station. It's important, really is. Ward Dixon's here from Southern California, Whiskey 6, Whiskey Delta. Ward, Happy New Year, buddy. Gosh, it's great to see you. Ken is here from England. Wow, from the UK across the pond. Ken, this is my honor to say Happy New Year to you, too. I mean that. I honestly do. Thank you for coming. It's a joy. We're trying to help people that are trying to license up in the first week of 2021. So, a few questions to help them. Then we'll get the show going, okay? Next question, which of the following conditions require a licensed amateur operator to take specific steps to avoid harmful interference to users or facilities? Look at this carefully. This is the only question on the test that uses this verbiage, where it gives you both harmful interference to other users or facilities. The word facilities is used here. Now, that's your tip-off. When you see the word facilities, you know it's going to be more than just users, okay? A, when operating within 1 mile of an FCC monitoring station. Yes, you do need to take required steps. B, when using a band where the amateur service is secondary. Keep in mind, there's nowhere that the amateur service is not secondary. It's always secondary, okay? We just do this as a hobby. C, when a station is transmitting spread spectrum emissions. You always want to take steps to make sure you're not, causing interference when you're going outside the bandwidth. Or D, all the choices are correct. The answer is D. Every single one of these are important. And the key to this question is where it says facilities. Facilities makes this question D. It's the only one in the test that looks like this. So if you're looking at the general exam and you see this and you see the question saying facilities, it is all the choices are correct because you need to take steps in all of these cases, okay? Every single one of them. Very important to remember. Wow. Good to see you guys. What a joy. Happy New Year, everybody. Seriously, Happy New Year's Eve to part of the world and Happy New Year to the rest. Here we go. Why do most amateur stations use lower sideband on the 160 meter, 75 meter, and 40 meter bands? Okay, so 75, 80. It's kind of the same thing. They're cousins. They just separate. It's 3750. That's all. Answer A, lower sideband's more efficient than upper sideband at these frequencies. Nope, makes no difference, honestly. B, lower sideband is the only sideband legal on these frequency bands. Not true either. C, because it is fully compatible with an AM detector. We're talking sideband, not AM. Remember, AM has a carrier. Sideband doesn't. Okay? So that's totally out. D, current amateur practice is to use lower sideband on these frequency bands. That's the answer. D. Easy way to remember it is when you're on 40 or lower, excluding, this is a real weird exclusion, I know, excluding 60 meters, okay? So 40, 80, 160, technically 75, all lower sideband. Once you get to 10 megahertz, lower sideband, 10 megahertz higher is upper sideband. Best way to describe it. Again, the only caveat here is on 60 meters, everything is upper sideband. So when you're at 5.3 megahertz, remember, you need to be on USB. It's also on 5 channels, and you stay within 200 watts. That's 100 watts on 60. It's just 100 watts output. All right, final few questions for generals. We got 4 more. Next one. What does the Q signal QRN mean? A, send more slowly. B, I'm troubled by static. C, 0 beat my signal. D, stop sending. Okay. The Q signal for QRN, we've talked about this before. It's environment. Environment. Okay? That's very, very important. When you see N, you know it's static or lightning crashes, things like that. QRN means environmental troubles. You're being troubled by static. QRM, its sister, is QR man-made noise. That's when another ham is a little close to you on frequency and causing interference. Best way to describe them, okay? Send more slowly is very different, okay? It is. It's QRS. QRS means slower. Slower down. Can't get it. Slow her down a little bit. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. 3 more on the general. And we're going to go over a few technical things too. And you'll see on number 12, you forgot to answer this one. Well, it's because I don't answer every one of them. I just don't have the time. I'm sorry, guys. I just try and get to pertinent stuff to get on the show. How is a directional antenna pointed when making a long path contact with another station? A, towards the rising sun. D, along the gray line. C, 180 degrees from its short path heading. Or D, toward the north. Okay, short path is direct, okay? Typically, if you're going to work Europe from the West Coast, for example, you're going to point your signal north. It's going to go over the North Pole. People in the East will point it east. For example, maybe in Massachusetts, New York State, people in Florida, they're going to point it towards the east or the northeast. People in the West Coast are going to point north because it's the shortest path to Europe. All right. There's another way to do it, which is the opposite direction, and it works a lot, okay? That would mean pointing it the other direction, 180 degrees from its short path heading. By the way, QRZ will tell you the heading between you and the station. It's kind of cool for pointing your directional antennas in the future if you'd like to make a call to them, or if you look and notice their call sign, you're listening, right? You're listening to a QSO, you hear them. What a good trick to do is to type in their call sign in QRZ. You'll find out their path heading from where you're at. You can just point your directional beam that direction and have the best short path heading to them, okay? Take a look here. Greg, good morning. Yeah, part of the reason we're here for you, buddy, is to help you with that general. Great, great, great. Mr. Sorry, Rugaloboga. Sorry. First time I see a good logo and cap during live stream. Hear this very nice. This is very nice. Thank you. This is Oscar Hotel 6, Kilo X-Ray Lima. He's a K2 owner. Welcome to the channel. It's nice to have you. Thanks for being here. I'm a K3 owner and a K4 waiter at this point. K4 waiter. There you go. So we appreciate it. Mitch is here. Hi, Mitch. San Anselmo, California. WU1Q, right? I think there should be a jingle package with your call sign. This is WU1Q, Q. I think it's a great call. I love that. Yeah, WU1Q. At it. That's awesome. That's so awesome. So we're good. All right. I think my brother's cancer treatment's done and they're trying to call me. All right. Next question. Let me get to it on the general. Okay. Yeah, Bob has his cancer treatment today. Let's get to the next question real quick. Approximately how long does it take the increased ultraviolet and X-ray radiation from solar flares to affect radio propagation on the Earth? Okay, so this is when there's a solar storm, and that's not good. Okay, it's not a good thing for radio propagation for people that would like to be ham radio operators. Solar storms exhibit things like X-ray radiation and other types of radiation, and they can disrupt the ionosphere. It hurts our propagation. It can last for days. It can. The problems it causes to the ionosphere, it makes it unstable, and it makes propagation, meaning signals between 1 and 2 stations, hard because, frankly, it messes up our ionosphere. Okay? So when that solar storm happens, how long does it take to reach Earth? 8 minutes. Just 8 minutes. Remember, traveling at the speed of light from 93 million miles away, 8 minutes from the sun to hit the Earth's atmosphere. And from there, it can take quite a long time to clear it up. Again, sometimes days for the ionosphere to stable itself back down. Solar flares are not our helpers. Sunspots are. Okay? Let's take a look at the final question for generals today. Why is long-distance communication on the 40, 60, 80, and 160 meter bands more difficult during the day? Now, this again has to do with the ionosphere. Everything has to do with the ionosphere on 3 to 30 megahertz. Actually, really, medium wave all the way to 30 megahertz, okay? The answer is C. The D layer absorbs signals at these frequencies during daylight hours. Remember yesterday we talked about this and I drew you like the 3rd grade drawing on my whiteboard? We're going to do it better today. Let's take a look at a couple of visual examples, okay? Here's the ionosphere. Now this shows an AM radio transmitter, but your ham radio transmitter is exactly the same as this. It's precisely the same. So let's take a look at this because I know we've got some generals who are studying and one that's going to be taking his test next week. This is very important. All right, your D layer about 60 kilometers high, okay? That's the one that absorbs signals. It takes about 7 megahertz and higher to go through the D layer. Everything else is kind of swallowed up by it. Doesn't mean you can't make contacts on 80 or 160 during the day. It just means they'll be shorter. Okay, the E layer is 120 kilometers up, and your signal goes higher and farther, about 1,200 miles on one skip. Skip meaning coming up from the tower and back down to Earth. Okay, your F layer is 180 kilometers up. Okay, that's where your real long distance happens. 2,500 or more in miles, you can make that on one skip on the F layer. Keep in mind, as it shows on the right side at nighttime, there's no D layer. Remember we talked about that yesterday? The D layer totally goes away. In fact, the E layer is there and the F layer is split actually into 2. It's F1 and F2. Now at night, the D layer is gone. F1 and F2 combine to make a real dense area way up high in the Earth's atmosphere. And what you end up with is you end up with paradise. Really, you make great calls. Calls from all over the world. Remember, our signals go way up, come down, bounce up, come down, bounce up, and they're aided by seawater. That's on the test. Seawater will help make those long distance calls possible for you. So keep in mind, please, the ionosphere is split into the D, E, and F layers. Okay, those 3 layers help us. The D layer is really hard, though, for 7 megahertz and lower to make contacts or DX contacts long distance during the day because it's charged up, and it's the most charged layer of the ionosphere. The D layer is the most charged. At night, the D layer disappears because it needs the sun to charge it up. The E layer is still there, so is the F, but the F combines into one more dense layer, and that layer makes your signals go a lot farther. Okay? That's the best way to describe it. Okay, another thing I'm going to show you real quick is I showed you when we started the show about the windowsill I have here in the shack, right? This is what mine looks like. Okay, you see my coax come in, my ground wires, all that. Anyway, that's my mess behind the place you don't see here, right behind that curtain. MFJ sells a great product. When I was back in Mississippi, I saw it. I said, oh my gosh, I want this. Got it there, and they shipped it to me. I'm so thrilled. This is made out of Western hemlock. This is the MFJ, 4603. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. Western cedar, so it's going to last outdoors. So the elements that hit outside are going to be great. You simply use it just like I have in my example here. Okay. When you see them coming in through your window, right? You put your coax coming in, right? Okay. Now what they do instead is they connect right here. They connect to this product. Take a look at all the connections there. Balance feed, random wire, and ground. You've got everything you need right there to go right through your window and keep everything separated. This is the MFJ 4603. Now, they make different models of this. I like it because it had the random wire and the balanced feed. So if I want to use ladder line, I can use that. Great stuff. But what's nice is you simply close it in your window, okay? And it may not be, for example, they cut this long. Just so you understand, this is cut long purposely because windows can be of different widths. So you measure your window out to the width it is, you cut the wood to that width, you set it in place. No more do you have the wind, rain, or coaxial cable worry of touching each other. You don't have to tape them down and make sure they stay apart. They do stay apart. Then you just hook up another cable on the inside of your house where you hook up it on the inside of your house, and you take one of the connectors off, and bingo, there's your SO239. Connect it right to your radio. It will keep all of your connections separate. It will keep them clean. And most of all, it will keep your windowsill from looking exactly like this one here. Okay? No more of this. You now can have a clean windowsill, no cold air coming in, no wet, nothing. It comes right in through that product. You connect it. It's got everything you need. Now, there's different kinds. Take a look. There's like 4601 to 4605. Depending upon your needs. For example, if you do a lot of 2-meter 440, VHF, UHF stuff, they have that in there as well. They can put a whole bunch of those in there. Maybe you do a ton of, random wire and long wire stuff. You can do that too. That's one of the products. I chose the one that has multiple HF connectors. And I know this says UHF, but it's HF. So they all connect in. It's made of Western cedar. It's going to last through many winters and many springs and summers. And it smells nice. It's a nice product. Just measure out your window width to make sure that it'll fit nice and snug. Set your window down after hooking up your coax. Hook your jumper from the back of it into your radio or your tuner or antenna, input for your radio. Man, you're set. It's just a brilliant product. And it's simple. It's just simple. It's just a piece of Western cedar with all the right connections already set in. My goodness, MFJ 4603. That is a giant thumbs up because I now will have a nice warm and dry ham shack where I don't have to worry about any of my cables touching. Everything will be brilliantly set up. Let's take a look at your comments. My goodness, I am honored by all of you. I mean that. Thank you. Wow, let's go up. We've got, first of all, let's look at the countries. Barcelona, Spain is here. To me, that's an honor. Thank you for coming, my friend. It means the world. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. We'll come back with a show later today as well. The next show is going to be covering on the SDR operation, and we'll be talking about using it with the ICOM 7300. And don't forget, tomorrow night, New Year's special edition of CQ Calling will be above 7.178 at about a kilowatt, and we'll see what we can do. Hopefully make some calls tomorrow with you, okay? And look at Nikolai. Nikolai here from Romania. Happy New Year to you, too. This one really makes me happy. Thank you. Also, Tom from Bahrain. Cheers. Bless you, man. Such a great thing to see you, Tom. Happy New Year, buddy. Happy New Year. Ward in California. Whiskey 6 Whiskey Delta. Happy New Year. Ken Surtees in UK. Across the pond. Man, I want to make a contact to UK so bad. Greg, Kilo Fox 0, Charlie Union Zulu. Thank you, Greg, for being here. It means a lot. Thank you. Thank you, too, to you. It's hard for me to say your name. Sorry. Mr. Rugabaluga. Sorry. Good to see you. Love you. OH6KXL. Love that call. That's good. Mitch in San Anselmo. Good to see. He is D Whiskey Union 1 Quebec. Oh, man, Jeff, thank you. Jeff, really, thank you. Easy way of doing things. And that's the whole point. So many people, I don't want you putting off your license. The purpose of the channel was because I did. I don't want you doing that. Don't worry about the licenses because you can't maybe think you can pass them. Yes, you can. You can. You can do it. Great study tools out there, great hem clubs to help you too. With the coronavirus, I know it kind of makes things a little iffy out there, but you can still go on to online courses. There's some great stuff out there. Great online courses. Thanks for being here. Daniel's here. Kilo Charlie 1, Mike Romeo Zulu. Happy New Year, Daniel, to you. And Jeff, from North Wales. Thank you for your easy. Thank you, Jeff. That's an honor to me. And that's a privilege as well. Thank you, Jeff. You honor me by that. Thank you. Great pictures trying to figure out what sort of propagation I will get from Iowa, where I live, Europe, Japan. You should be able to work Europe. Absolutely. Europe from the Midwest, especially the upper Midwest. Absolutely. Yes. Japan, yeah, you probably could do that as well. I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem, but Europe, you've got a huge advantage there for sure. Cold air helps to cool. It does help to cool amplifier. You're right about that. It does. I just don't like the cold, wet air in here, Daniel. I just hate it. But it's nice to finally, it'll be a nice, clean windowsill. I'm excited for that. Lou, bless your heart. Happy New Year, Larry, from Lou. W0 Frank Kilo. Lou is a good guy. He's a good friend. I want to share something with you that Lou sent me today. It's weird because I checked the day before and I didn't see it. And then it released yesterday. I want to share with you what I found. And what Lou found is sent to me, which is great. I love how the channel works because people send stuff and then I get to share it. But I always try and credit the person who sent it to me. And that is Lou. Lou. His call sign is Whiskey 0 Frank Quebec. Now, let me get this over to you so you can see what I'm talking about. The Sherwood numbers came out yesterday on the new Yaesu FTDX 10. Here they are. I know they're tiny. We'll make it bigger for you. All right. So on the FTDX 10, brand new from Yaesu, Rob Sherwood reviewed it. There it is. Number 3. Number 3. Look at the AGC, but more importantly, look at the dynamic range. 107. 107. Just little lower than the 101D. Just a little lower. Yeah. So that changes things. Take a look at this. This is the number 3 receiver now on Sherwood's list. Number 3. Okay. Think about the 101, the cost of the 101. Think about the cost of the 10. Do you need 2 VFOs? That's important. Do you need 2? Okay. Then think about the fact that you're literally within 3 dB DNR of a 101, which is the best receiver I've ever used. at $16.99. I still think it's going to come down a few $100 because they always do. I think that's an incredible buy. I really do. I really do. And I have my personal thoughts about being a 101 purchaser and what it might do to the 101 market. Time will tell. Time will tell. But I think that's the best receiver I know. I've used it for 6 months. So I know the 101 well. And if the 10 is that close, it is an incredible radio, incredible receiver. You can't go wrong with that radio. It is stunning at that figure. $16.99. Be patient though, because patience always wins in ham radio. Prices always come down. They always do. Happy New Year to you too, Lou. Daniel says, my shack is in my basement and I have everything going through an old central vacuum exhaust pipe. That's a good way to do it. Very creative. I like that. No extra cooling needed. That's great. Juan, thanks for being here, brother. Scott's got to go. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Folks, I need to pick up my brother from his cancer appointment. Thank you for spending this time with me. I think the FTDX 10 definitely is a thumb up. I think it's a great receiver because I know the 101 was a great receiver. My heart goes out to the 101 buyers because we'll see what happens to the value of their radios. That's a big drop in value because we bought for the great receivers it had. Anyway, on another note, we'll be back for a later New Year's Eve show. We'll celebrate with a little bit of CQ calls and we'll hopefully have you entertained. Thank you for watching. It's always my honor and privilege. My name's Larry. My call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November from my shack here in Northwest Oregon and from all around the world. 73s, even from Arkansas. Oh, bless your heart. Smokey, thank you for being here. Kilo Echo 5 Sierra Hotel Victor in Arkansas. Just discover your channel again. Smokey, it's an honor to meet you. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you. I'm going to say 73. We're at the end of the show. I'll see you soon. We'll come back with a second show today talking about the MFJ device, a little switch to hook up your SDR. If you don't have the availability for a DVI out or an HDMI out to a monitor, we'll help you hook it up. Coming up next on Ham Radio Live Show 111. Until then, God bless you. We'll see you soon. Good DX, everybody. Bye-bye.